Hey guys, we're here to react to the 0-0 result between Milan and Juventus. I think most of us would have predicted this, a stalemate, although, let's be real, as you can see on the screen, Milan should have won it. They had a penalty. Rafa Leao had a massive chance at the end as well that he completely mishit. And in the end, Juve come out lucky, come out with a point. And as a neutral, I'm not a neutral, of course, you guys know I'm an Inter fan, but as a neutral, as a Serie A neutral, this opens up a very, very nice title race at the moment. Things are now lining up as we expected. I think the only maybe surprise team, or maybe just for me, maybe some of you might have predicted this, but for now, for me, Roma being up here with 15 points, same points as Napoli, is a bit of a surprise. So it's going to make for a nice Scudetto race for the moment. Anyway, well, obviously by the end of the season, we'll see who the real contenders are. And look at that, Inter after that loss to Juve are now the exact same points as Juve. More points dropped by Milan and Juve. So for Interisti, another great weekend, back-to-back wins and back-to-back points dropped by the big teams. Unfortunately, Genoa weren't able to do the job on Napoli. They were 1-0 up Genoa, but then Napoli came back to win 2-1. But I think similar to this, the conversation I want to have about the Champions League games, it's already making a difference. For Napoli, the amount of injuries Napoli already have compared to last season. Like today, Lobotka went out injured. They've had injuries with the Buongiorno, Rahmani, the fullbacks, Lukaku obviously, but that's unrelated to Champions League. But just like the extra, even though it's been only extra 2 games, I saw when I reacted to the Napoli Milan game, people underneath in the comments were saying, "Oh, it's only been 1 Champions League game. How is this already an advantage?" But even that 1 extra game, by then already Conte, he played Marianucci in that Milan game because he was already thinking about the Champions League game, so he could rest Bergkamp, play him in that or whatever. It's even though it's 1 extra game, it changes everything. And already, if Napoli is making a difference, they're not looking very good, Napoli, at the moment. But anyway, we're here to react to Milan or Juve versus Juventus, which had some winners and some losers. I think as usual, Modric, if I had to give a man of the match, I think is Modric once again. I think he is front runner at the moment for midfielder of the year for Serie A. He is unreal at the end. That perfect through ball to Rafa Leao could have won the game, should have won the game. And in general, he's just a general on and off the ball, which is the most impressive thing about Modric. He's really good off the ball. The tackles he wins, the duels he wins, amazing. Magnon made a massive save. I think that even if Gatti scored that goal, I think it would have been called back for offside or something. But Magnon was massive in that. In general, he was very good. But yeah, Pulisic, he was actually quite good, I think, in the game in general. But the penalty miss, of course, is a big downer. He also created another big chance. Actually, Rafa Leao, I'll correct myself, it was not just the chance at the end. He actually had maybe even a bigger chance before that, where Pulisic created with a cross, and Rafa Leao found himself free at the far post and completely, again, mishit it. But this time was with his left foot. And these are the things with Rafa Leao being converted into this striker position. He's going to have to improve on that. I think we all know he has the potential and the ability to score and take his, a final output up to a 15, 20 plus goals a season if he could. But he has to do it. Can he do it? Can Allegri get it out of him? Not sure. But yeah, for Juve, Jonathan David or Pomathan David, not looking good. I mean, I tweeted his miss, or even I guess you can't even call it a miss because he just completely slipped before even shooting. Gets the ball, whoop, Bambi on ice, massive chance. I guess this doesn't show on the stats as a massive chance for Juve, but yeah, apart from that, how many touches did he even have, Jonathan David? Only 9 out of 10 passes. 16 touches. Yeah, I think the Serie A impact at the moment on Jonathan David looks quite heavy. He doesn't look like he's really bedded in yet with his teammates and with Serie A yet. And Juve, going back on this talking thing about fatigue, like they couldn't start Keffer and Thuram because they have to do some rotations. They couldn't start Bremer because of injury. They already have some fatigue issues in there. because when Inter played them, they were all fresh, full of juice. Yildiz, even though it's only match day 6 in Serie A, and having played every single match in Serie A and Champions League, running up and down, trying to do dribbles, trying to create things, trying to shoot. He's just not. He's already looking a little bit jaded, and we're already talking at the start of the season. So it shows you just how intense football is these days. That these players are already looking. We're not even 25% way through the season, are we yet? And some of these players look like they already need a bit of a rest, which maybe the international break will give them, but actually it won't, because Yield is very important for Turkey. So yeah, when Inter played them, when every time Juve was shooting, it was zipping off their foot, going into the top corner or just about. Today, it wasn't anywhere near that. But of course, Milan, they're a completely different animal to Inter. If you want to compare, Milan, of course, sat back a lot deeper, made life very difficult to Juve to create anything. You can see Juve only created 0.68 xG, Milan 1.74. Even if you take the penalty out of it, that's at least around 1 xG. So Milan definitely deserved the win. But it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be. The changes didn't really make much of an impact as well. Openda's also not looking great at the moment for Juve. Maybe Openda actually is the most concerning one, even more than David, because at least David has got off the mark, and we know at least he had one decent performance against Parma. I think Openda hasn't had any good performances yet. Vlahovic, after the initial little burst that he had, is gone back to being quiet. And that is the big headache, I think, for Igor Tudor, really. He doesn't know who his starter striker is. Pretty much every single lineup that Juve put out every single game, you don't know who's going to be the starting striker. You have no idea. If it's going to be one, it's definitely so hard to choose between the three, because none of the three at the moment are firing. And if it's a two, then it's still quite hard for Tudor to pick, because there's no standouts at the moment. So early season now, Inter missing out on Jonathan David for the high salary, high commission. Maybe at the moment it's looking like a good decision, but we'll see. Of course, this is very, very early on to tell. But yeah, both keepers were very good today. Di Gregorio and Magnon, and both back lines were very solid as well. Pavlovic is looking like a different animal under Allegri now. So is Gabbia, so is Tomori. They're just looking a lot more solid. Lloyd Kelly has been good this season, but he was the one at fault for the penalty. So the one mistake could have cost Juve the goal and the loss, but it didn't in the end. But yeah, at the moment, Juve, I don't know if Tudor maybe needs to go away from the 3-4-2-1 formation. I think he's forcing it. It does make Juve a little bit susceptible through the middle. Usually today, I think they tried to play a more safe game than usual. But we've seen how many goals they've conceded this season. Juve, especially through the middle, it's difficult for players like Locatelli and Kefren and McKennie, as a duo, to cover the middle without much support. But overall, good news for Inter. Good news for Napoli, I guess. They got the 3 points, managed to get some breathing room from Milan and Juve. But it's nicely lining up now. Atalanta still there. They're unbeaten, Atalanta, at the moment. So Juve. That's, I think, one thing we got to give credit to Juve for. They are still unbeaten, to be fair. 3 wins and 3 draws. But Thiago Motta was sacked for getting so many draws as well. So at some point, Tudor is going to have to do something about that. Elsewhere, Genoa continue to be in big trouble. I mean, today, of course, no one, I think, expected a win from Genoa away to Napoli, but at least maybe a draw. If you're fighting for your job, Patrick Vieira, I think he would have appreciated that. And we still have 4 teams with winless 4 teams in Serie A, which is a little bit embarrassing. I know in Premier League, Wolverhampton do. I'm not sure in La Liga and Bundesliga. But Fiorentina, wow. I mean, Pioli is the most under pressure manager right now, I think, in Serie A, because how are you winless with that team? How are you winless with that team? And how are you only scoring 4 goals with that talent that you have at your disposal? He's making Palladino's job from last season look really, really good now. because he was given money to spend. They spent plenty of money this summer, which I disagreed with. You guys, if you followed me through the summer, I didn't like the signing of Piccoli. I think they could have sold Komuta really to Al Hilal for that 30 million offer apparently that was on the line. Um, Guys like Simon Som, Tarek Lamptey is a decent signing, but no one really moved the needle. You know, they didn't really improve the back line. Um, Really weird summer for me, but still, regardless of that, Stefano Pioli should not be winless at this stage and should be comfortably challenging for Europe with this team, regardless of what you think of the summer. Similar case with Lazio, but I don't think the salary is under much pressure because if anything, he is the one that should be complaining to Lotito and Lazio for not being given any money to spend this summer because of their liquidity issue that they had, liquidity ratio. They drew to Torino today and they got lucky last minute, stupid penalty giveaway from Torino. But yeah, some teams are looking in big trouble. Torino still not out of trouble. Fiorentina in big trouble. Hellas Verona, even though they're looking good up front with Orban and Jovan, they still not got a win. And Pisa, I think, yeah, they're going to go straight back down. I feel sorry for Gilardino, Akin San Miro, the team. Gilardino just not being given a Serie A level team. That's a Serie B team pretty much. But yeah, that is my reaction. It was, in the end, it was actually a pretty good watch, this Juve Milan game, because in the second half things did brighten up. But definitely not a classic one to remember in the years to come by. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. Let me know your thoughts about this game in the comments down below and your thoughts on Serie A in general at the moment. International break now, but of course, keep a look on the channel for Azzurri content and of course, Inter content. Ciao ragazzi, always, Forza Serie A.